Okay. We're ready. We're ready. Woo! All right. Whew. It is a crazy 2 weeks. It's going to be a crazy 2 weeks, and I am excited. It is going to be a great, crazy 2 weeks. It's going to be great. And there's barking because there is excitement for everyone. Hello, 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 everyone. Hello. Oh, so back from an amazing trip to New York. Really marvelous. What a wonderful time that we had. And now we have Thanksgiving. In our family, we do Thanksgiving on Wednesday. So tonight and tomorrow starts the cooking, which is a lot of fun because I love being in the kitchen, but with my regular schedule, I don't often get the opportunity as much. So I love Thanksgiving to put on some music and just get in there and start cooking, favorite recipes. You know, it's good when your mom calls today to say, you are making this and this and this, you know, all the favorite things. So that's always fun. Just it's one of my favorite holidays because you know how much I love to talk about love and gratitude. So Thanksgiving is one of my favorite holidays for that reason. So, and then next week, if you're ready, I'm ready. Next week, a week from tomorrow, starts the podcast. It does seem a little bit weird to be excited about a podcast about grief, and yet here I am, excited about a podcast about grief because I know we're going to help a lot of people. And I'm excited to share all this information with everyone and to create those ripples, right? We talk about all the times that we cavitate off of each other and how we create those ripples in the water. And it's so important that with this grief education podcast, we're going to be able to create a lot more ripples on the water, that we're going to be able to send out love and healing and advice and support to so many people, because I have looked around and looked around and looked around, and you know who's talking about grief out there in the world? David Kessler, of the eminent David Kessler, of course, and Anderson Cooper from CNN has an amazing podcast called All There Is that he started after his mother Gloria Vanderbilt passed. And Anderson has a lot of different kinds of grief because his mother has passed and she was the last. His father passed when he was young, his brother passed when he was young, and now there is him. And his podcast is not always easy to listen to, but it is a fascinating podcast, and I like Anderson very much. And he brings other people who are walking in their grief journeys or who have walked in a grief journey in for a conversation. Now, it isn't about education. It is simply about sharing. And that's a great place to start. But as I looked around, there just isn't anybody else talking about grief education, and so besides David Kessler, of course, but does not have a podcast right now. So I am very excited for the work that we're able to do, that we're going to be able to do to help some people, and I hope that you will tune in and that you will be part of it, because you who join us here on Mondays, you are the core, and you all share. And I appreciate every single time that you all share me with friends and loved ones. And this is a great opportunity for sharing something new. So Beyond the Lost, Conversations in Healing and Grief Education is going to be starting on Tuesday next week. Conversations in Grief Education and Healing. Beyond the Lost, Conversations in Grief Education and Healing. So this is going to be a really, I think, really important. Now, also, we have starting on Wednesday. So next week's going to be a big week. We have our live on Monday. We have the podcast on Tuesday. And then on Wednesday, we have a class that is going. If you are someone who is a light worker, someone who has been doing things in the light, perhaps you're a Reiki or pranic energy, the podcast is 3 o'clock Eastern. Thank you, Sharon. 3 o'clock Eastern. It'll be on A1R Psychic Radio or Psychic Radio on Facebook. And then after the live broadcast, it will be everywhere. So they are hosting the podcast in every podcast platform you can imagine. So 3 p.m. if you want to see it live, 3 p.m. Eastern time if you want to see the podcast live. It will be, let me get that, it's askoneradio.com, and then also on Facebook at Psychic Radio. So let me put that into the chat real quick, since it doesn't seem like our beloved Chris Judd is here yet. So we have that. So Ask One psychicradio.com or facebook.com psychic radio. So very happy with all of those things. So that's going to be 3 p.m. Eastern time starting on Tuesday. Now, on Wednesday, again, we have this class called Building the Foundations of Your Metaphysical Business. It's 3 weeks. It is being hosted by the Journey Within Spiritualist Church in New Jersey. And this is a class for people who are looking to build their business, expand their business, to figure out how to run a business if you are someone who is a worker in the light, someone who is a reader, card reader, or a healer, energy worker, whatever it is that you do, that, tarot or oracle or whatever it is, if you are looking for some help and guidance on how to expand your business and build your business and grow your business, this is going to be the class for you. It's 3 quick weeks, and it is going to be at journeywithin.org. And let me get you the link for that as well. Events and classes. And I know Chris is always so Johnny on the spot with these things, so much faster than me. So let me get this for you. There we go. There is the building, the foundation of your metaphysical business. Okay. Then in January, we have one more class that's coming, and that is one that might be of interest to more folks, and that is going to be the Getting to Know Your Psychic Self. And that will start in January as well. So the metaphysical business is going to be in December, and then in January we'll be getting to know your psychic self. So let me grab the link for that. There it is. Okay. And I know they have a certain number of seats that are available in these classes, and right now it looks like there are plenty of seats still available, which is good. So, and I know those things tend to sell like at the end. All right, so there we have, it's going to be a very big week. So we have Monday, our regular live together channeled information and cards of the week. We have Tuesday, the Beyond the Lost podcast, the very first episode. Thursday, we have Building the Foundations of Your Metaphysical Business. That will run for 3 weeks. And then in January, starting January 13th, we'll be getting to know your psychic self. So I'm very, very excited about all of these things. Okay, let's see what else is going on, because we are still in Mercury retrograde. We are just barely out of the new moon into the waxing, where we're going up from new moon into the first quarter, right? We're still in Mercury retrograde until the very end of this month. So Mercury retrograde is going to take us all the way into Small Business Saturday. And if you haven't already taken a look at your email, if you're on my email list or you received my newsletter, you should have gotten a special email or a special something in with your newsletter. So remember that that little special something is only available until December 15th. So make sure that you take advantage of that while it is available. If you are not on my email list and you did not get your special something in the email or receive my newsletter, please do send me a message or go to my website, Dworkin-Smith.com, so you can sign up to receive my newsletter, and that way you'll always be in the know about what's going on. All right, so Mercury retrograde, there is a lot of stuff that is there's a lot of stuff that is going on in the universe. So I don't know if you saw the new moon last night. Was this beautiful little silver crescent moon. It was all orange. It was so beautiful. But this is really this energy of the new moon as coming up right now. When the moon is going up, that energy is coming up as we're going to go into that first quarter, and we're going to go up into that full moon. So we have some time here, about 2 weeks. So really by the time we get into the full moon time, we're going to be in the closing energies, the post window of Mercury retrograde. But there's a lot that's happening there. We're looking at all these interstellar things that are going on. So if you've been following, I know we've talked a little bit about the Atlas 3I interstellar comet, and we've talked also there's a lot that's going on with the asteroid that they think might hit the moon in about 5 years' time, and what's going on with that. So there is a lot of cosmic energy that's going on right now. And there is a lot of things that are shifting, because one of the things that's happening globally, galactically, that's happening is we have all of these people who are having some sort of jolting awake of what's going on. And our humanity, our planet, the humans that are on our planet right now, are in a transitional phase, and people are coming into this realization that there is something more that's going on, and that they want more, and that they deserve more, and that there is something more just beyond the reach of the fingertips. And so as people are having this continued realization, this continued waking up, people are saying, I want to open more. And so couple different things are happening. As people are opening more, we're having a lot of people who are going, okay, whatever, universe, energy, whatever, here, I'm open. And what happens is that is sort of bringing a little chaos into the collective energy, because it's opening the door for nefarious energies, it's opening the door for energy vampires, and it's opening the door for people who have by people who had not had an understanding about energetic boundaries. So one of the things that I really want to talk about, I'm asked to talk about today, is as you are opening and as you are continuing your own evolution and your own spiritual development and your own opening to collaborating with the universe, one of the things I really want to make sure we're talking about is boundaries. Energetic boundaries. Just because Spirit is sending you a message, or you're getting a sign from the universe, a feather, a bird, a butterfly. I had the opportunity for a butterfly in my garden, literally on my hand. That has never happened before. A gorgeous monarch butterfly on my hand. I mean, what an experience. So we are seeing people who are opening up and having these amazing experiences, but what we're not seeing is an understanding of we are still autonomous and we are still in control. So as we are opening ourselves to the universe, it's really important that we're not giving up all of our common sense. We're not giving up all of our autonomy. We're not giving up making decisions that make good sense for us, still living here in the 3D world. I get it, we want to live 5D, we want to be moving into 12D, and we want to have the experience of the higher and the blissful, but we still have to function here in the world unless you choose to leave your body, your physical body, and transition to another plane of existence. Okay, and that's a whole other conversation. It's important that we understand that even if we're receiving messages from Spirit and symbols and signs and feathers and butterflies, or you keep hearing the same song over and over again, or you keep seeing the same numbers over and over again, all of these things are super important, but it's important that we're also setting a boundary. So if you are receiving information for integration and it's 3 a.m. and you have to go to sleep and get some sleep because you have to get up tomorrow and do your job, it is 100% okay for you to say, hey, Spirit, angels, guides, energies, entities, I love you and I want to work with you, and thank you for choosing me, thank you for coming to me, thank you for being part of my life, but we need some boundaries, okay? It is so important that we understand that we are so much more powerful and we are the ones in control. One of the things I tell my clients all the time is, while you might be the one to pay me to sit down and have a session with me, I work for them. At the same time, that does not mean they are the boss. That does not mean that I am at their beck and call. They work also for me. Because if they want me to be giving messages and being open for communication and being available when I am working and when I'm choosing to be open and available, then that means we have to have some boundaries. We have to have a collaborative working relationship. Now, this is especially true when you are working with someone else's energies. So if you are meeting someone for the first time and you shake their hand or you come into their space and all of a sudden you know a whole bunch of information about them, there's a boundary issue there to be able to say, hey, hold on, none of this is mine and I don't need to have this, and I certainly don't need to hold on to it. And so we can let it go, okay? Okay, and I blow it off. I want to get that energy moving off of me and I blow that away. But when we have our own guides and our own angels and spirits and our own entities, loved ones, we can still set boundaries. And it is really important. And the reason that this is coming up so much right now is because of Mercury retrograde as well. Because we have Mercury retrograde, we know is designed to bring things up that need to be dealt with. Okay? And one of the things that happens that I'm learning, I'm noticing and I'm being shown is we have problems with boundaries. We have problems with boundaries. You can pretty much see it in any aspect of life anywhere. Right now we have problems with boundaries. When we open ourselves and we want to live a collaborative life with our angels, guides, loved ones, and spirit, we want to welcome them into our lives. That doesn't mean they get to run the place. It doesn't mean they get to run the show. That we still have boundaries to say, hey, at 3 in the morning, even though you're my grandma and I love you and I really want to hear from you, unless it is a dream visitation that we are having where I'm not waking up, it'll wait till tomorrow. It will wait until a more appropriate time for my human body schedule. Okay? And that's a boundary. And what I'm noticing is, and what I'm being asked to notice is, while we are moving forward and we're welcoming more communication and more energy, more collaboration with the other sides, it's important that we're building this as a skill of boundaries because we need it for here on earth. We need boundaries for here on earth. Now, we can set boundaries with loved ones. We can set boundaries with jobs. We can set boundaries with neighbors. We can set all kinds of boundaries, and none of it needs to be done with, oh, yeah, or hey, you. None of it needs to be done with animosity. It can all be done with love and compassion. And so learning to set these boundaries with our loved ones and our guides and angels and spirit gives us opportunity to practice a skill that is so needed, because part of this is communication. And one of the things that we have lost in our screens over the last decade is the ability to communicate. Okay, people don't call, they text. Okay, we don't spell words out, we do emojis. Okay, we can't, you don't agree with me, forget it, can't talk to you. You must be a horrible human being because you don't agree with me. And all of this is part of boundaries and communications that we have set inappropriate boundaries, or we're setting knee-jerk reaction boundaries instead of setting boundaries that are based in an actual need for better communication. Okay, we can set up a boundary that's a wall. Boom. You don't agree with me, you're out. Wall. Or we can set up a boundary that says, hey, this boundary is a table where we can sit and communicate together. A neutral space where we can both be respectful and we can both communicate and connect in a way that works for both parties. And working on that with our angels and our guides and our animal spirits and our loved ones is really, really important, because if we say, F off, I gotta sleep, they're gonna be like, we love you, we'll see you later, and they'll probably come back, okay? But if we say that to a person, we could really cause some damage in the relationship. So setting boundaries with the spirit side gives us good practice in setting boundaries in the human side, okay? And this is something that's really, really important, okay? Because once we can set boundaries, the next step is being able to say what we need, to be able to ask for what it is that we need, ask for what we want. To say, okay, we have created this table that we can both sit at, and we can have this conversation and say, here's what we would like, here's what we're going to communicate about. Now we have this safe space that we have built some boundaries and some trust, right? We built this trust with the universe to be able to say, here's what we need. Here's what I need. What do you need? How can we meet in the middle? Okay? So creating boundaries and creating a conversation and a communication with the universe is really important. It's a really great place for us to start being able to do that in the rest of our lives. Okay? So one of the things that this Mercury retrograde is really talking about is not just about communication. We know that Mercury retrograde has a lot to do with communication, but this is really talking a lot also about setting those boundaries so that we can feel safe in planting our own feet, planting our own energy where we are, and being able to go forward in a way that is going to be beneficial for ourselves and for all concerned. Okay? Right? All right, so let's check in with, this is Kyle Gray's Archangel Oracles, and see which archangels are participating with us this week. And so this is, oh, you really can't make it up. So this is Uriel. Uriel is, it says, learning experience. Take time to review, study, and hone your knowledge before proceeding further. Well, isn't that appropriate? Okay, isn't that appropriate? I love that. Thank you, Uriel. I love that. Okay, take time to hone your knowledge, which means know yourself, know what you need before you go forward to work with someone else. All right, I have to share. I don't think you can hear it, but outside my window, because the weather's nice today, so the windows are open. And you can see my beautiful Nechama tree right here, who's my spirit tree. So there are little kids, because our neighborhood has been getting an influx of people moving back in as kids grew up and they moved away. Now new families are moving in with kids, and so what I hear is kids playing outside right now. Sharon says, is there any truth to things happen in threes? Heard about 3 deaths from Thursday to Saturday. It's not the first time that things have happened in threes. Okay, so is there truth to it? Yes, of course there's truth to it. You know why there's truth to it? Because we can say, oh, well, this happened, so another thing must have going to be happening, so let me go find it. Okay? And so somebody else who's in your circle is say, oh, well, you know, I know Sharon's looking for I better tell her about this. Now there's 2 things. Oh my gosh, we know there's going to be a 3rd thing. We better go look for it. Okay? So we can make things fit. Is it true that things happen? Absolutely. Do they happen in threes? Sometimes they happen in 2s and 4s and sometimes 28s. Not everything happens in a 3, but we tend to notice, because when one thing happens, we go, oh my gosh, isn't that so sad? And then a second thing happens and we say, oh my God, things happen in 3s. There must be a 3rd. Okay? And so if your expectation is that there's a 3rd, guess what? Okay? So if it happened that you heard about 3 deaths from Thursday to Saturday, and I'm so sorry for the losses, however, it does not require that things happen in 3s. I had a very dear friend of mine who very unexpectedly lost her mother. The memorial service will be this coming Sunday of the holiday weekend. And while I am certain that many other people on the planet have passed since I heard this news a week or so ago, I have not heard anything more of any others. So things have the power that we give them, okay? Things have the power that we give them. If you are looking for 2 more people in your circle to have had a catastrophe or have had something happen, you could probably look on Facebook and find 2 other people that are griping about something that happened. You know, hopefully nothing serious, but things have the power that we give them. Woo, my cards just really they don't want to go together, Sharon. Let's see what's going on there. Let me pay attention to what I'm doing. All right. Let's see. Let's see if we can do some card readings for the collective. Okay. And I will say I've been working all day on the podcast. I always really like to check in with Yasmin Boland, who is the Moonology astrologer, and she teaches all about how we can manifest and live and work with the phases of the moon. And I will often post things that she's posted because I think she's wonderful. And I did not get a chance to check in with her astrological, moonological email that she sends out on Mondays today because I was working on the podcast all day today. So very happy with that. So, moonology.com, Yasmin Boland, and if you're looking for somebody else to follow along with, she's a good choice. So what do we need to know about where we are right now? And the card comes in as love, but it's upside down, right? This card comes in as upside down, and this is the 33 card. Now we know 3, right? It's that butterfly that's going to open and that there's more to the story to be revealed. But this card is upside down, and this reminds us that we're a little bit more right now center focused, especially around Thanksgiving. We tend to be a little bit me focused, right? Where we're into, well, I need to go to this store and I need to go and get this for the holidays, or I need to go get, be with this family, or we tend to be a little bit more myopic during the holidays. And so this card is talking about that there is so much love available to us in the world, but it's going to be up to us to choose to change that focus from being inward into being a little bit more outward. How can we help and serve and love and support others while we are moving forward in all the things that are me? There's nothing wrong with me, but keeping in mind that as we're raising the collective vibration of the planet, that we are wanting to make sure that we are focusing ourselves a little bit more outwards as well. So while you are preparing for hopefully a wonderful Thanksgiving holiday if you're in the United States, or a fall break if you're not, or just Thursday, asking ourselves how can we be of service to others is a really important place to start. And so this is simply a reminder. It is not a condemnation. But when I always ask the question, what do we need to know as the collective? Hey, Tracy, I see you. We're not on individual cards just yet. So when we're looking at this and I ask the question, what do we need to know as the collective about what's going on in the world right now? This is reminding us that there's plenty of love out there. We just want to make sure that we are focusing it a little bit more to the outwards, right? So we want to, as Jess Ekstrom says, who I like very much, instead of being a spotlight, we want to be a lighthouse, right? So we are not necessarily so focused on the light being shined on us and aren't we so fabulous and what do we need, but can we shine the light out on someone or something else? And right now, especially in this country, after everything just happened with the SNAP benefits and the shutdown that was more than a month, there's a whole lot of people who could use a little extra love, okay? So fantastic. Thank you so much, Sharon. I really appreciate that. And so what else do we need to know about this situation? And that is the grace card. The grace card comes in. The grace card is 25. And so that's very, very interesting because here we had 33. 3 and 3 is 6, and this card is 25, 2 and 5 is 7. So we are going in the right direction, but the grace card is upside down as well. That reminds us that it's really important that we are having compassion for ourselves and for others, especially remembering we are still in Mercury retrograde, which can make people a little bit short-tempered. I don't know about you all, but I've been having my internet's running slow, my computer's being wonky, my phone is being weird, all electronical hoobity-hoobities that happen a lot of times, that we can blame on Mercury retrograde because of that electrical impulses. And keeping in mind that we did see here in Central Florida a few weeks ago some delayed rocket launches because of solar storms. Now the dust and the particulate from the solar storms may have passed Central Florida so that the rockets were able to launch last week and everything is hunky-dory. However, the energy of something that was evicted or ejected from the sun, that is a whole lot of energy. That is a whole lot of power to boom out of the thing that is the most powerful thing in our entire universe is the sun, and to have something that was ejected out from the sun, that is a ton of power and energy. And even if the particulate danger has passed and most of the geomagnetic disruption has passed, there is still a whole lot of energy going on out there. And for we who are in the light tend to be more sensitive to those kind of things. I don't know about you all, but I just feel my body just hurts, it just hurts. So like somebody tased me, but like a couple of days ago, it just achy. And a lot of that can be part of it. So giving ourselves grace and having this compassion, understanding there is still a lot that's going on out there, a lot of people that need help, and we may be one of them. So just having that place of compassion. But because we have the 6 and the 7 card, remember the 6 card is also, we're over the hump, we're over the hardest part, we're moving towards that finish line. 7 says we're continuing forward, we're moving towards that new change in direction. But 6 reminds us that there's something new on the horizon that's coming for us or towards us, or that we are bringing out into the world. 6, when you look at 6, is a number of pregnancy, not literal pregnancy, but of birth, of something new coming into the world. And 7 tells us we're changing direction to receive something new or to create something new. And so here you have 6 and 7 in consecutive order. It tells us we're going in the right direction. But love and grace says, listen, we want to, again, have that a little bit more outwardly focused so that we're having a little bit more towards not just what do I need, but what can I do for someone else? What can I do for the betterment of the world and society? And grace reminds us that we want to give ourselves grace and we want to give grace to others as well. Remembering compassion, that this is a difficult time of year for a lot of people, okay? So it just reminds us to stay grounded in that, okay? So we can be grounded in the fact that it's not just about us, okay? And so how do we go forward? What's the best way for us to go forward? What do we need you to know about that? And this is the abundance card. Now this card is also upside down, conveniently, not surprisingly, and this is the number 1 card, okay? This says, listen, there is a whole new adventure of abundance out there, and this reminds us that there is plenty for us. And in the abundance card, we've seen this before. It's the one with the hot air balloons, where that one hot air balloon is still stuck under this porte-cochere, where all the other balloons are out there, flying free, right? And so the abundance card is upside down. Now, interesting thing about the number 1, it is the number 1. Whether it's right side up or upside down, it doesn't matter. It's still the same number. It doesn't change, right? So here we have this number 1, this abundance card that says, listen, there is so much available. There is plenty for all of us if we are willing to share, if we are willing to link arms and walk together. There's plenty for everyone. And it's very interesting that all of these cards are upside down today, that we have love, grace, and abundance, and all of them are upside down. So I'm putting grace right side up simply because the word is, they're all on this end of the card. Okay, but they're all upside down. And so we have 6, we have 7, we have 1. Okay, so a new adventure is waiting for us. A new opportunity is waiting for us. And there is plenty available for us. There is more than enough. There is more than enough. And that's the thing, that a human society will convince you that there's not. The human society wants to convince us that there is only so much, and if you don't get yours, you're not getting any, right? But the universe society and the angels, the guides, the higher development, the higher mind tells us there's plenty for all of us. There is more than enough for everyone. So that is the message for this. And I think that is very, very timely as we're coming into Thanksgiving week. There is so much for us to be grateful for. Abundance is everywhere. There's so much for us to be grateful for. However, that means we are safe. We are safe to say, I can share. I can take the focus off my, there's times when we say, stay in your lane. But that's very different than having blinders on and not being aware of anything else that's going on around you. And so we're talking about being aware that there are other people and ourselves that deserve love and compassion and deserve some grace. Give ourselves grace. And at the same time, that there is more than enough for all of us. So, all right, let's leave it there for right now. And we will open it up to whoever wants to have a card reading for themselves. I'm going to look outside. So you can't really see, but we have bushes right here. And right here, right underneath my window, right here is my Susie, our black and white cat. She's sleeping right here. I have asked her a couple of times if she wanted to come in, and she's like, nope. So she's not. All right, so this is the time for individual cards. So Sharon, you are up. Absolutely. Hello. All right, so what does Sharon Goldstein need to know, or how do we best answer her question if she has? So when we pull individual cards, I assume you have a question for yourself, or you're just open to whatever to receive. And so whatever that is, and we open that for you. And so this card also, Sharon, is upside down, and this is fulfillment. This is card 24, so another 6. That reminds us, again, we're over the hard part, but then we're creating something new. Something new is coming forward for us, either for us or from us. And this card is upside down. This is fulfillment. So Sharon, this card really speaks to me as far as about, and you can see where she's picking the apples, and there's plenty of things that she has, tons and tons of apples. I mean, just look how many apples. So that really feeds into that that story of abundance, that idea of abundance. But Sharon, this is so much about fulfilling your destiny and fulfilling your purpose. And there is something that's going on here about you sitting on the sidelines and not really getting into the game as much as you could. And the spirit has started to notice. And I feel like we've had some of this conversation before, that there's some more piece for you to be leading or being involved or being part of the community, part of the group, and fulfilling your promise, fulfilling your experience, fulfilling your, your role. And so there's this piece that says, well, hey, she's not doing that yet, and we'd like to talk a little bit more about fulfillment. So Sharon, there's a place for you to step in a little bit more, and that's where the universe is saying, we're waiting. We're not going to shove you. Okay, there's no mandate, but we're waiting, and that door is open for you. Okay? All right, so we're going to hit Tracy, and I see Steve, who's got a spirit story. I love a spirit story. All right. Not the same as a ghost story. I love a spirit story. All right, Tracy. So Tracy, this card's we are upside down all day today. So this is card 38. So 8, 9, 10, 11, which is 1 and 1 is 2. So, yeah, absolutely. Sharon, I would love it. Hit me up when you're down here. So, and welcome back to our crazy state. So this is playfulness for Tracy. This is 38, which is 11, but it is also upside down. So Tracy, this is really important that it says, listen, don't take things so seriously. Relax. Let it be, let things be what they're going to be. Remember to find joy in the situation, that in all the things there's something that we can laugh about, right? There's something of joy, something of love that we can find in any situation, even in the stuff that is super hard. There's something of joy. What do they say about funerals? And funerals suck. I mean, we all know that. Funerals are just, but funerals bring people together, people that we haven't seen in a really long time. People are reminded to care, that we do care, that we care about each other. So even in the hard stuff, Tracy, there's always some blessing that's in there. And so this is saying to you, listen, you don't have to take everything so seriously. Just let things flow and it go as they will. And that 11 number reminds you that you are not walking your path alone, that you are absolutely being walked with love, with light, with spirit, that you are absolutely being walked with. Okay? All right. So Steve, you've got, let's see. And I know he's got the one card that's right side up for the whole week, right? So, and I know it's a little slow today, and that is totally fine because I know it's the holiday week, and that is awesome. So this is the joy card. This is card 30, so 3 is your number, right? And so this is the card of joy. And so this is really the and I love because one of the things that happens with Stephen, because he has worked so hard to be in the alignment that he is that very often I find that the cards that we pull for Stephen or that are presented for Stephen are confirmation cards. And this happens for a lot of people, but I feel like it happens for Steve. He says, I knew my card was going to be up, facing the right direction. But such a confirmation card, especially for some of the things we had talked about the last time I saw you. But this is the card of joy. And this really says to you, just revel in it. Just allow it. Just stay in the place of love and gratitude. Just stay in the place of joy. Allow the things to develop. Allow things to go forward. Allow things with love. Allow things, just enjoy the journey. Because sometimes we work so hard, and this is for all of us, we work so hard and we build the thing and we've done it. We've gotten to the mountaintop and we've, created and we've whatever. And we get there and we're like, now what? And we forget to enjoy the journey. And so, Stephen, this card is just a reminder for you and for all of us, especially as we come into this holiday week, this time of joy, hopefully, of being with friends and family. Enjoy the journey. Enjoy the joy. Revel in the joy of being joyful. The holiday of Thanksgiving is all about love and joy and gratitude. So for all of us to revel in the joy of joy. And I will leave it there because I don't think I could pick a more perfect card to end for the collective, so we'll leave it there. And wherever you are spending your Thanksgiving holiday and however you are spending your Thanksgiving holiday, I look forward to being back with you next Monday. And I wish you a wonderful, peaceful, safe, if you're traveling, Thanksgiving holiday with friends, with family, filled with wonderful people, laughter, health, memories. Always remember how so very much you are loved by the universe, by our community. Thank you. For me, thank you from the bottom of my heart for me and my family, for being part of our community of light, helping us to do something good in the world, to raise the vibration, to raise the light for a lot of people. Thank you for being part of it. I wish you a most magical week, and I will see you next week. You are loved.